This isn't gonna work well.
It's fun.
If you're thinking about getting into model railroading or you're already an addict, boy, do we have a project for you. In this episode, I make this happen, and I'll show you how I did it, starting right now. Hey, welcome to It's My Railroad, the how-to show for regular people. On this show, I show you my model railroading tips, tricks, techniques, and tragedies, all while documenting my journey as just a regular guy building a model railroad. So, if you're into that sort of thing, why not just subscribe? And then don't forget to push that little bell icon so you can catch future videos. Well, listen, rail fans, I want to get right to showing you what I'm going to show you today because I am totally pumped up about the way this is coming out. It's awesome, but a quick little disclaimer. What I've done here is not for everybody, and here's why. It took me 4 hours working on just this piece of the model from last week to this week, and it's tedious. It's gluing lots of little sticks together to build this thing, but I gotta tell you, come the end of the day, it looks awesome. And I got into model railroading because I wanted to build models of stuff. I have a particular idea in mind for this, a particular look that I wanted to see. And you know what? It's the journey that matters, not the destination. So I'm on that journey. Thank you for joining me on that journey. And before I get too preachy, why don't we just head over and take a look at what got done this week. Well, hey, welcome back to the hobby room, to the Brown-Smith Railroad, the Fertile Valley Project Build, and the Tunnel Portal mini-series. Today is Friday, April 5th, and I gotta tell you, I have another hankering. This time it is to finish that tunnel portal back there. I want to do the very best I can in the time that's allotted for this episode. If you were with us last week, you saw that we introduced the wood we're using, how we treated the wood, how we stained the wood, and then how we weathered it and then cut it into little pieces, glued it together to get what you see back here. At the end of that episode, I told you there was something I didn't quite like about it. If you look at this tunnel portal, it's got this trapezoidal kind of shape. The two walls are not parallel, and I want them parallel. Now, thank you to the subscribers who made the comments that said, it's a 100-year-old tunnel. Just leave it the way it is. That's the way it would really be. And thank you for that encouragement because that's totally awesome, by the way. Problem is, I really want them parallel. It's just my thing. I don't know. But if I pull this little sucker out right now and we look at it, the reason that that's trapezoidal in shape, these railroad ties right here along this edge where they're glued together, they're kind of solid right there. But then over here on the edges, they're kind of sagging a little bit. We got saggy ties, people. So what I decided to do, the compromise that I'm coming up with is I'm going to let those things sag. They've been sitting there 100 years. They're sagging. And that's just the way it's going to go. So there's another couple of modifications I want to make to this, but it's probably better to get all that done and talk about it over at our new makeshift hobby table. So why don't we just head over there right now? Hey, welcome to the makeshift hobby table. So to get started, I'm going to make a quick modification to the tunnel portal. And it's this. These little pieces that you see right here are meant to be like the foundation for some supports that go up to support the top half of the retaining wall because it's got this big wide opening there. We can't have any uprights like we're going to have on the rest of it. So that's all well and good. The problem is I don't like them there. I actually want to move them over 2 widths of that wood, 1 or 2 widths. I haven't figured it out yet. So we're going to get that later, but the first thing I need to do to get going with the rest of what I want to do today is take this little piece off the top, first of all, so that's 2 pieces again, and then cut these little pieces off the bottom. And to do that, I think we'll use our hobby saw, which is nearby, I believe. So what I did is I grabbed me my little hobby saw right here, and I am just going to take it to the limit one more time and gently just saw right along there. and cut that piece off. I'm gonna get the other side and then we'll get to work on this thing. And there you go. That modification took me like 5 seconds and now boom, we're rolling. So here's what I think I want to do. Hopefully this is the right process, but I'm flying by the seat of my pants. You guys know that's how I roll. Here's the thing. I think I want to build this face up higher to the height we want it over there. Then what I can do, once it's all connected as one piece, I can lay this down like that on its face and just extend the wing walls off of here, this sort of custom way that I'm gonna do it that hopefully will turn out cool. And if it doesn't, you can mock me in the comments. I'm used to it, don't worry about it. So let's get started on that. Right, so to get started, let's take some measurements. I wanna have the gap here between this to be 20 feet wide. Now, that's a little bit wider than you would normally find on a tunnel portal, but I do have a curve going through there, and I want to make sure that none of the cars sort of get hung up on it or too close. Plus, there's some other stuff I'll show you later when you see the supports coming down. I need the width. So I'm going to say, let's set this at 20 feet. Well, hold on. There you go. 20 feet, like that. And then I'll run the ruler all the way out to the longest portion of this. And it says it's 35, 36, 38 feet from that edge to this edge over here. 38 feet. So that's going to be the overall span at the top of this thing. So let me show you what I'm going to do about that. Okay, to give you sort of a rough idea what's going on in my head right now, which, by the way, is pretty scary if you've ever been in there. Anyway. This is a 20-foot piece right here. This is a 20-foot piece. This is a 16-foot piece. That is a 18-foot piece. Oh my gosh, so many different lengths, so many different measurements. Why are you doing that, Steve? It's because I want to maintain this staggered edge that I have going on both sides. And I'll show you why we're staggering that later. Actually, I'll tell you now. Why not? Let's get into it. We're going to have a wing wall that interlocks into that comes off and comes off. And so I need that staggering, and I want to continue that all the way up. So that's one set of things we're doing. Then this represents the overall height of the tunnel portal. Look how tall that sucker is. That's amazing. It's that tall. That's 50 feet tall because it's my railroad, baby, and that's just what I want to do. So I need to build this piece I'm doing right now up that far. Oh, look at that. It's like dominoes. That far. And according to my ruler, that means we need to add 22 feet. So what I think I'll do right now is go through and cut me maybe 20 of those 20-foot ones, and then 10 of the 16-foot ones, 10 of the 18-foot ones, and then we're sort of going to glue all those together in advance and then set it down on top of the pieces we've already done and see how it looks. Again, a disclaimer, making it up as I'm going along. So if it turns out that it sucks, again, go into the comments and mock me all you want.
Just don't pick on my mohawk. I get enough of that.
All right, so let me just sort of take you quickly through how I put all this thing together. My first idea was to go ahead and just lay out all the pieces of wood on the table, align them all neatly with the intention of then going back and just sort of slathering the back with wood glue, letting that dry, and boom, I have the top piece done. But then as I started trying to push it together and line it up, it became a train wreck that just kept on wrecking. Look at it, I got pieces bouncing up. Oh, it's terrible. So I decided to take one of our subscribers' advice and put a piece of tape down and stick all these pieces to the tape to hold them in place. I couldn't find any masking tape, so I used duct tape. It's really sticky. I put the ruler up against it to, make sure it's all kind of level, and then just one piece after another start sticking it down. Problem is the duct tape kept coming up when I lift my finger off it or whatever, so I took and taped the tape down to the hobby table. Once I had all the pieces assembled, I cut the duct tape So I could flip it over and put the wood glue on the back and slather it on. Put a flat ruler down there, put some weight on it, and let it dry. After it dried, I went through and sort of peeled the duct tape off. I have every intention of leaving that duct tape on there for support. So I carefully cut it away from the wood with my X-Acto knife. But then I realized that it was just too flimsy, so I decided to take some super glue and some sticks and just glue on some reinforcements. All right, after that little bit of doing, this doesn't look half bad, quite frankly. There's some gaps in it here and there, but I think that would really be apparent in a 100-year-old tunnel portal. Now, this has got to sit up here like this at some point. Look at that. It's already looking awesome once we get everything lined up. But here's the problem. Let's get back to my trapezoidal thing here. If you can see, this little side here is taller than that piece. I don't know. I just used the same wood. I stained it, I cut it, I glued it together. Boom. Bob is not your uncle. That's why Steve's your uncle. I got me a sanding block here. I'm going to try to do this in such a way where you can see it, but it's sanding. How exciting can that be? I'm just going to rub this across. Well, heck. I think that's close on this, and that's all there is to it. Boy, the things I wish I would have known when I was doing something. These little strips I've got back here to sort of reinforce the back of this are totally awesome. But the thing is, had I been thinking about it, looking at this from the back, I could have extended those down further and just glued that piece right to those pieces and boom, been done with it. So here's what I think I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go through and add another piece on here and then set this up, lay it flat, boom, glue it down, and we'll keep going from there. Okay, in my opinion, that looks totally awesome. And you know what? It's my railroad. So as long as I'm digging it, I'm digging it. What I want to do now is go through and make the wing walls that come off of this. There's going to be a much longer one that comes off of this side and maybe one or two panels that come off of this side. And here's the thing. I'm going to do it the same way you saw me do this. So I'll show you a little bit of that, but then we don't need to spend a bunch of time on it. Let me get on it and let's see how it looks when we put it back on the layout. Boom, moving. And boom, there it is, back on the layout. And I gotta tell you something, I think it looks totally awesome. I've got to dig in this thing right now. It was well worth the effort to put in 4 hours of construction for this thing. And that was just since last week. Get her done. Anyway, come in a little closer. Let me show you something. One of the things I want to show you guys real quick is how I've got these wing walls set up where I can sort of adjust them for now, like this. See that? Until I get the actual radius or whatever, the final version I want. Then we'll go through and put some glue on the back of that, boom, so it doesn't continue to be all squirrely and everything. So that's going on there. That's pretty nice, I think. Okay, maybe now you can kind of see why I wanted to put this in first before we got all of the scenery done on the tunnel. And that's because of this. This styrofoam's got to get sort of cut down, and this has got to get cut down. I think what'll happen is this retaining wall is going to retain some dirt. That'll kind of come up a little bit and then slope down to the double track main on the other side. So what we can do then is go ahead and put the mountain like from here up, some sheer kind of mountains down to that. And I think it's going to look really good, especially when we get our train running through there. Doesn't that just look awesome? Well, I think it does anyway. Now all that remains is to put the details on the outside of that thing, which I've got some awesome ideas for. I can't wait to share that with you. And then inside, we're gonna detail the inside of that tunnel, although you can't see a whole lot of it without the locomotive headlights in there, but I still wanna do it. So I'm gonna show you that next week. But for now, thanks for being with me this week on It's My Railroad. If you liked the video, make sure you push the like button, make sure you subscribe, make sure you share the video. And until next time, my name is Steve Brown. Rail on, my friends.